Hi, I'm Tracy Townsend. I'll be bringing you the top stories from around Columbus this week. Severe storms ripped through central Ohio Tuesday morning, leaving behind a path of destruction, flooding, and thousands without power. The National Weather Service confirmed an EF1 tornado touched down on the south side, damaging houses and several businesses. Straight-line winds up to 100 miles per hour were responsible for widespread damage in Upper Arlington, forcing the district to delay the start of the school year until the following week. Governor Mike DeWine issued a state of emergency for Franklin, Perry, and Muskingum counties. In Crooksville, families are now picking up the pieces after severe flooding forced evacuations and left houses filled with water. One family of 6 says they're grateful everyone made it out safely, even as they face extensive damage. Let's dive into these stories and more making headlines across central Ohio.
One of the biggest unanswered questions from Tuesday's powerful windstorm was why the tornado sirens in Franklin County were silenced.
Sounded like we were in a tornado.
But we didn't have no tornado alarms go off.
You didn't hear a single siren?
Nothing.
You upset about that?
Yeah.
The storm produced wind gusts in excess of 80 miles per hour.
Yeah, it shook the building.
Tuesday's winds were strong enough to be considered a tornado or a derecho or straight-line winds.
I was just praying for my life because I didn't know what could happen, you know.
What didn't happen was the activation of nearly 200 sirens in Franklin County.
We only activate our tornado sirens when the National Weather Service, Wilmington, issues a tornado warning. So in this case, they did not get any indication on the Doppler radar that they had rotation.
10 TV meteorologist Aaron White says the lack of rotation in the sky and the short bursts of wind could mean a derecho or straight-line winds, both capable of doing serious damage.
When we talk about an 82-mile-per-hour wind gust, that is actually comparable to about an EF0 tornado.
As cleanup from the storm damage continues, the Franklin County Emergency Management Agency says this storm is a good reminder for people to pay attention to severe thunderstorm warnings.
We need to continue to spread the message that, severe thunderstorm warnings and straight line winds can carry the same punch.
And we are still waiting on the National Weather Service to determine what happened yesterday. Now, because the FAA radar at the airport is down, the National Weather Service is using the radar from Wilmington, and it's unclear when the FAA will have that radar at the airport fixed. Reporting live in Old Town East, Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
Deanna Hunt and her 7 children are just a few of the dozens of people without a home after Tuesday's storm. Her house off Parsons Avenue was split in half in a matter of seconds.
My boyfriend jumped on top of me, told me to go downstairs in the basement, a loud crack, and all the kids started screaming. And by the time we got to the basement, everything was done. It was quiet.
You can see many of the homes and businesses here off of Parsons Avenue and in the adjacent side streets are completely unlivable. That roof here being completely ripped off, and the back end of that building is almost gone. I spoke with people who were here when the storm broke out on Tuesday, and they say it really came without warning.
My one son has cuts, bruises, and a log went flying through the bedroom window, cracked him in the head. My daughter's bedroom is almost in our kitchen. Everything's caving in.
The American Red Cross is operating a temporary shelter at the Scioto Southland Community Center. Hunt and her family are staying there, trying to keep things as normal as possible until they can figure out a plan.
They said they're opening up a case to do assessments. And what sucks is I just got all the kids' school supplies together, and it's all gone.
Reporting in South Columbus, Amy Steigerwald, 10 TV News.
All of a sudden, we just heard this loud blast.
Hope for Tomorrow Director of Nursing Annie Dart reliving a moment seared in her memory. The force of the storm left her office building in shambles. Glass, ceiling tiles, and insulation litter the floor. A wall tilts at a steep angle. Dart says it was rainy and business as usual until everything changed in an instant.
It was like a whirlwind of glass. The glass was the sound that I remember the most, and like the wind whipping through. Because then you could hear the construction come down, but you really couldn't see it at the time because my director and I are huddled on top of each other under the desks she's just like, get down, get down. No, Heather was here by herself. My other director and I were right through the doorway. So we saw this wall come down. We saw Heather getting thrown into her desk, and then she ended up under her desk. And then as soon as things started to settle and the sound and the wind started to settle. It was, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And
well, what is the answer to that question?
we heard voices, which was good. You know, as a nurse, that's my first thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing to hear those voices after something like that. The wind so powerful it flipped the organization's van right on its side. DART says that Heather, the intake director, has some scratches and she's a little bit banged up, but otherwise okay. The 12 children were a little shook up, but were not physically hurt. And as far as the building goes, they're not sure if it's salvageable at all. They'll wait to see what the insurance says, but they do have another location on South High Street where they were able to treat their patients as normal, their clients today, as they needed to be. Live in South Columbus, Doug Petcash, 10 TV News.
I made my kids get in the car and I had my 16-year-old just drive it up the back alley out of the water.
Yep.
For this mother of 4, the damage is simply too much to put into words. Floodwaters rushing into this Crooksville home, soaking the entire living room and turning once white carpet brown. Her mother-in-law stepping in to help the family.
Just watch your step. It must have been kind of, it's all, everything was floating. When I came in yesterday, it was up to my chest.
She says her nephew ran to the house to warn the family of the storm.
He called me, which I live on the other side of town. Get down here, they're going underwater.
Personal belongings were destroyed, windows were broken, and water damaged items inside cabinets. The family even moved some of their belongings onto the bed, trying to keep what they could from getting wet.
The water levels in the dog's cage here in this home got so high they had to evacuate the dog, but you can see here how his blankets are still soaking wet.
We got the dog out. That was the main concern with the kids, and we got them all to safety.
Through all the loss, there is one thing this family is thankful for. No one was hurt. Now they're left picking up through the damage, one item, one room, and one day at a time.
It's sad because where are they going to go? The kids start school next week.
We're going to have a bunch more coming, I know, because I've gotten calls yesterday.
In Crooksville, Superintendent Kevin Smith is preparing for a different start to the school year.
Our focus has definitely changed. I mean, our focus is going to be making sure we know where our kids are, that they're safe, that they have what they need. The first days of school is just going to be kind of a head count and who's here and who we're missing and who we need to make sure we reach out and make contact with so we have everyone accounted for.
Smith says roughly 24 families have reached out to the district for help this week. He expects that number to rise going into the weekend, as this devastation is not something anyone was prepared for.
Not a devastation like this. We've had some other things happen in the community that we rallied around and supported one another, but this is definitely the most traumatic.
Friday's donation drive came together in less than 48 hours. Staff and community members, along with students and school athletes, all showed up. They collected clothes, toiletries, school supplies, and other necessities families might have lost to rushing waters. Many volunteers have friends or fellow classmates who were impacted by the storm.
Went to bed and I woke up and then everything's underwater. It was kind of crazy. Like, we love helping our community and stuff like that, so it was really nothing to think about.
School starts next Thursday for students across the Crooksville School District.
There's progress outside the door of Edward McCoy's home. Inside is much different.
How hot is it in your apartment?
It's 80 degrees.
His van now serves as both air conditioning unit and the power to keep his cell phone charged.
What's it been like for you the last 72 hours?
It's been terrible. We have no power.
The tornado, he says,
Sound like a freight train.
Came without warning.
It's devastating, man. I've never seen anything like it in my world.
Inside his apartment, he uses a flashlight to see at night. Inside his fridge, the cold food is warm and unsafe to eat.
I'm gonna have to throw all this stuff away.
South Columbus was ground zero for what the National Weather Service now says was a tornado. The day before, it told us it didn't see any rotation in the radar, which would have activated the sirens in Franklin County. A tornado hit here and the sirens didn't go off.
That's not a good thing for the community.
The good news, there were no reports of injuries. For people like Edward McCoy, what's your message to the power companies?
Please get our electric on, please, as fast as you can.
A chief environmental specialist who's inspected this building says there's not one single issue that he's most concerned about. He says it's the building as a whole that poses the greatest concern.
And you can see where water's been running from the ceiling tiles themselves.
Adam Sears, chief environmental specialist with the Franklin County Municipal Court, led a tour through the building at 375 South High Street, exposing the areas that he says are cause for concern. For example, standing water in the building.
The more water you have in the building, the more it degrades parts and components of the building.
Sears says this can lead to mold and mildew, which, according to court officials, can be found in all 26 courtrooms in the municipal court. And it's not just structural concerns.
We have had several judges who have had threats against them. I've had threats against myself.
Updates to safety and security are another concern. Jessica DeVarga, administrative and presiding judge for Franklin County Municipal Court, says the judge's parking garage needs more security. She says they need
to feel safe whenever we're coming to and from the building.
Earlier today, 10 TV's Kevin Landers brought the structural concerns to Mayor Ginther. He asked about how the decision was made to put the money elsewhere.
The city made this decision, what seemed like arbitrarily. How do you justify the fact that this money is not going to where voters wanted it to go?
I think to classify it as an arbitrary decision is a bit out of whack. I would say this: there are a lot of families making tough decisions in this community and communities around the country about things that cost a great deal more than they did just a few years ago. The cost of new construction has exploded. And by making this decision, we're able to get 70,000 more square feet of office by renovating the building. It's also going to save us $75 million.
The mayor goes on to say they're putting money into the Barrack Community Center, police substations, fire stations, and fire apparatus. He goes on to say those are, quote, much more important priorities to the public. In the meantime, DeVarga says she's optimistic.
The only thing that we want is to work with the city to get our needs met.
Ava Hedges, 10 TV News.
I come here average about once a month.
Mark Graves of Mount Vernon says he wouldn't eat without the interchurch food pantry.
Without this place, where do you think you'd be? Oh, I'd be a lot worse off, put it that way. And I'm 66. I'm on a low income budget.
A budget, he says, that's shrinking.
Because every time I get a small raise from the government, they take more away from my food stamps. It's like, ooh, okay, the government gives me and the government takes it back. Never going to get ahead the way things are, never.
Never did he think he would choose food over his health.
I have to send my oxygen machine back because it's a choice between that and other things, my medication. So, yeah, so this place really, really does help.
What kind of snacks you guys want?
Michaela Turner is a single mother of two.
We've been out of milk for weeks. They've been hounding me all week.
She also made sacrifices to make sure her kids are fed.
I had to give up buying what my animals needed, pet food, to buy what we needed for the house, which was, not the best choice, but, at the end of the day, we still have to eat as well. You guys want some applesauce? Yeah.
She says the government assistance she receives doesn't last as long as it once did.
We're on food stamps and stuff, and normally it used to cover us throughout the whole month, but not like it used to.
Inside this food pantry, the need for food is growing.
It's a lifesaver, actually, because prices are just skyrocketed.
In July of 2022, the pantry says it served 192 families. 3 years later, that number grew to 275%, to 725 families.
It is very important.
We serve around 80 a week,
on Thursdays.
Other pantries are also working to keep people fed.
We made some cookies.
This is the Knox County Salvation Army Pantry. Compared to last year, it's seen a 5% increase, mostly families looking for food. The nation's largest anti-hunger program called SNAP, commonly known as food stamps, is changing. States like Ohio will now have to shoulder more of the cost to administer it because the federal government is reducing its share. That could reduce the number of people who qualify for food stamps and send more of them to food pantries like this one.
These changes that are coming as a result of federal law are the biggest changes, the biggest cuts to the SNAP program in the program's history in 60 years. And obviously that's going to have impacts on the states, and most importantly, it's going to have an impact on the people who rely on it.
Look, we got milk now.
As for Michaela Turner, she's among millions who could lose her benefits under new work requirements for SNAP. Even if she could find work, she says.
You still got to find somebody that'll work with you until you can get the child care to work full time. So it's hard. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
About vegetables.
I don't want that.
It's terrible. I'm just outdone right now. To know him was to love him. For sure.
Tanya Holiday is trying to wrap her head around a loss no mother should have to face. Earlier today, she was planning a funeral for a family friend shot and killed just last month when she got the call.
But here I go again, planning another funeral, and it happens to be my son.
Her second-born son, Charles James Holiday, was 37. Columbus police say he was shot Monday morning on Delray Road and pronounced dead at the scene.
I heard there was an argument of some sort of dispute that did not have to turn into gun violence.
Family and friends of Charles gathering today to grieve together and remember the full life he lived.
He was smart. He was so intelligent. He was loving and fun and just outgoing and so much more. Just always smiling. He had a smile. Just unbelievable.
One of 4 sons, a father of 3, 2 boys and a girl, a musician, and someone who didn't hesitate to help.
Yeah. He couldn't cook nothing but pancakes, yeah.
His younger brother, Tyler, remembers Charles once nursing a baby bird back to health and saving a woman who had fallen through ice.
She tried to pay us, and he said, no, that's who my brother is.
And there was still more he wanted to do.
I ain't finished yet. I ain't made it out the trenches yet. My brother loved music. We were supposed to do a project together. We were supposed to do Army at 2 because we was Army at 2.
The family wants justice for Charles and for the gun violence to end.
It's ridiculous, and now it's so close to home, and I wish it would stop, and we can all pray that it's going to stop. But I'm pretty sure my son won't be the last.
Was active duty Army, and then this was kind of the easy, natural transition afterwards.
Clayton Schaefer has been a Westerville police officer for 2 years and has already made life-changing actions.
So these situations are obviously really intense. I don't really know what anyone else is doing at the scene. All I know is what he and I are doing. We're just trying to engage with her on anything. If I recall correctly, I was asking her if she wanted to get ice cream or her dog or literally anything to just try and connect with her on something to get her out of that, moment to hear me and then try and, talk her down.
Last September, he and Officer Derek Brudinger were called to help a teen girl in a mental health crisis. She was on the roof of a garage and the officers were trying to convince her to come down to talk to them.
So there was a moment where you could see like nothing we were saying was getting through to her, and she started slowly walking forward, and then after she did that, we realized that it was game time. So he and I came together real quick and tried to like make a makeshift ladder, if you will, or something to support her. And then from there, we both got injured from it. He had ended up herniating his disc and has been out since, but I just thankfully had a little wrist injury, but we just had to do what we had to do.
Despite their injuries, they were able to save the girl's life.
So you guys literally put your bodies, your lives on the line to protect and save her?
Yes.
Any hesitancy there whatsoever?
Not for me. I mean, in that moment, everyone's human. The the uniforms off, and at that point we're just trying to catch a little girl who's, going through a tough time. So no hesitancy for me, and I don't think Officer Bruninger had any either. We immediately acted and just did what we had to do.
Westerville police have recognized the officers for their life-saving actions. Now the Fraternal Order of Police is as well.
I personally don't feel like a hero. I think we both just did what we had to do. I think there's every day officers come to work and are doing things that go unheard of and saving lives.
Absolute hero. I appreciate his humility, but I don't think there's any question.
Westerville Police Chief Holly Murchland says she couldn't be more proud of her officers.
This is what these men and women come here every day and are stepping up and willing to do. At the end of the day, they are their fathers, their mothers, their brothers, their sisters. They're humans. And when things like this happen, that human side definitely comes out. They're empathetic and they're willing. That's why they take this job. They're willing to put their lives on the line every day to help others.
In Westerville, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
That's a wrap on this week's edition of Around Columbus, your look at the story shaping Central Ohio. Thanks for spending time with us. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget, you can always get the latest updates on the go with the free 10 TV News app.